Today, we're talking about a story that has really shaken a lot of people in Nigeria. It's about Omoyele Sowore, the well-known activist and publisher of Sahara Reporters, and Nyesom Wike, the former governor of Rivers State and now a key political figure. This story is intense because it blends politics, public accountability, and a lot of strong opinions. If you're watching, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because you'll want to stay updated with all the details as we break them down. Recently, Sowore confronted Wike publicly with a very sharp statement. He told Wike, "Be careful with alcohol." Now, on the surface, this might sound like a casual comment, but in the context of Nigerian politics, it is loaded. Sowore is essentially warning Wike that his decisions and actions need to be carefully considered, hinting that being careless could lead to trouble. Sowore also emphasized that there is no crime in calling a thief, which is a clear way of saying that he believes public accountability is essential and that exposing corruption should never be seen as a crime. The background of this confrontation goes deeper. Sowore has raised serious concerns about alleged properties linked to Wike in the United States. According to him, Wike and his family own real estate in Winter Springs, Florida. These properties, Sowore claims, were purchased with public funds. He has reportedly even petitioned the Florida Attorney General, accusing Wike of money laundering and violating property laws. This is not a small accusation. It's serious, and it has people talking across the country. Wike's aides have responded firmly. They dismissed Sowore's claims, calling them mind games meant to sustain Sowore's public profile. They argue that Sowore is more concerned with his own agenda than the truth, suggesting that if Sowore had enemies, it would be from those he has exposed, not from government officials. But despite the response, Sowore has remained vocal, insisting that exposing what he sees as wrongdoing is his duty. Here's the part where things get interesting for us, the viewers. When Sowore says, "No crime in calling a thief," he's challenging more than Wike. He is challenging the culture of silence around corruption. In Nigeria, many people feel frustrated when public officials engage in misconduct, but fear of retaliation or lack of transparency often keeps stories hidden. Sowore is essentially saying that citizens, journalists, and activists must speak up, even if the people in power get uncomfortable. And now, let's pause for a moment. If you're following this story and you're finding it interesting, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and ensures you won't miss the next part where we'll unpack even more details about these property allegations and the legal angles Sowore is exploring. Also subscribe if you haven't yet, because we are going deep into this story and you'll want the full gist. Sowore's boldness has sparked a lot of discussion among Nigerians. Some people support him, saying he's a voice of accountability and bravery. Others are cautious, suggesting that public accusations should be backed by concrete evidence to avoid spreading misinformation. This tension between activism and responsibility is exactly what makes this story captivating. People are watching every move, every statement, and every response from both sides. What's clear is that this story is not just about personal attacks or political rivalry. It's about the larger conversation of transparency, integrity, and leadership. Nigerians are paying attention because these are not abstract issues. They affect governance, public trust, and the way leaders are held accountable. Sowore's confrontation reminds everyone that activism has a real impact, but it also comes with responsibility and scrutiny. As we continue this story, I'll break down more of Sowore's legal efforts, the reactions from Wike's camp, and the discussions happening among citizens and political analysts. But before we move on, remember to like this video and subscribe so you stay updated with the full unfolding story. Share your thoughts in the comments too. Do you think Sowore is justified in his approach, or should there be more caution in public accusations? I'll read and respond to some of your comments in the next part. Now, let's get into the heart of the story. Sowore's claims about Wike's alleged properties in the United States have really caught people's attention. According to Sowore, Wike and his family have acquired real estate in Winter Springs, Florida, using funds that should have been spent on public projects in Rivers State. Sowore argues that these purchases were made under the names of Wike's wife and children, which raises questions about transparency and accountability. He has even taken these concerns to the Florida Attorney General, formally petitioning them to investigate whether there was any wrongdoing in the way these properties were obtained. This is a bold move by Sowore. Petitions to foreign authorities regarding Nigerian politicians are not common, and it shows how far he is willing to go to ensure that he brings attention to what he believes is corruption. Many Nigerians are watching this closely because it touches on a larger issue: how public funds are managed and whether those in leadership are held accountable, not just locally, but internationally. Wike's camp has responded swiftly, of course. His aide, Lere Olayinka, described the allegations as mind games, suggesting that Sowore is more interested in personal publicity than the truth. They also insinuated that if Sowore truly had enemies, it would be among the people he has exposed through his activism, rather than government officials. Essentially, they are painting Sowore's accusations as strategic, designed to keep him in the public spotlight. But here's where it gets interesting. Sowore has not backed down. He insists that exposing corruption is not just a right, it's a duty. When he says, there is no crime in calling a thief, he is signaling that speaking the truth, even against powerful figures, is necessary for the country to progress. This has resonated with a lot of Nigerians who feel frustrated with the political system and the lack of accountability among leaders. And viewers, I have to remind you, if you're finding this story interesting, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue bringing you these in-depth updates. And you won't want to miss the next segment where we'll discuss public reactions, political analysts' opinions, and what this could mean for Wike's reputation. People across social media and traditional news platforms are already debating this issue. Some see Sowore as a hero, someone willing to speak truth to power. Others are more cautious, warning that serious allegations should be supported by concrete evidence because accusations without proof can backfire. This tension between activism and accountability is what makes this story so compelling. It's not just about one politician or one activist. It's about the broader culture of leadership, trust, and responsibility in Nigeria. Sowore's remarks about alcohol, which seem casual on the surface, are also part of a larger strategy. By cautioning Wike to be careful with alcohol, Sowore is indirectly suggesting that poor decision-making or negligence could have consequences. It's a warning, but also a reminder that leaders are always under scrutiny, whether they like it or not. Before we continue, I want to ask you again to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Sowore's approach is effective in promoting accountability, or do you think it could cause more division? Your opinions matter, and we'll highlight some of them in the next segment. In the next part, we'll explore the legal implications of these petitions, what Nigerian law says about exposing corruption, and how this might influence political narratives ahead of upcoming elections. We'll also look at how the public is responding on social media, with people sharing their perspectives on both Wike and Sowore. Now, let's talk about the legal side of things, because this is where the story gets really interesting. Sowore's petitions to the Florida Attorney General are not just casual complaints, they are formal steps in what he believes is exposing misuse of public funds. In international law, when someone petitions foreign authorities about potential corruption, it triggers a formal investigation process. This could involve property records, financial audits, and even interviews with relevant parties. For Nigerians watching, this is a big deal because it shows that accountability isn't limited by borders. Public officials who misuse funds abroad can be scrutinized internationally. Sowore is sending a clear message. Leadership comes with responsibility, and hiding assets in foreign countries will not go unnoticed. Of course, legal experts and analysts have weighed in on this. Some argue that while Sowore has the right to petition foreign authorities, the evidence must be solid. Otherwise, there could be legal consequences for defamation. Others, however, see this as a wake-up call for Nigerian leaders. That transparency is mandatory, and activists are no longer staying silent. Meanwhile, Nigerians themselves are reacting loudly on social media. Many people are supporting Sowore, applauding his courage to speak truth to power. They feel he is representing the voices of everyday citizens who are frustrated with mismanagement and corruption. At the same time, there are critics warning that public accusations, even if well-intended, must be handled responsibly to avoid misinformation and unnecessary political tension. This conversation has also sparked wider debates about activism in Nigeria. People are asking, what is the role of activists? How far should they go in challenging political leaders? And are these confrontations helpful for the country, or do they sometimes create more division? These are important questions because they shape how citizens perceive governance and accountability. Sowore's remarks about calling a thief highlight a key point. Speaking truth, even when it's uncomfortable, is essential for democracy. It encourages ordinary citizens to question leadership and demand transparency. But it also reminds leaders that their actions are being watched closely, not just by Nigerians, but by international observers as well. And viewers, if you're following this story, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think. Do you support Sowore's bold approach, or do you feel caution is needed when making public allegations? Your opinion matters, and we'll continue to highlight different perspectives as this story unfolds. The political implications are huge. Wike is a major figure in Nigerian politics, and these allegations could influence how people see him ahead of future elections. Even if legal investigations take time, the court of public opinion is already active. People are talking, debating, and forming judgments based on what they see and hear. This story also emphasizes the power of media and social platforms. Sowore, through Sahara Reporters and his public statements, is able to reach millions of Nigerians directly. This bypasses traditional channels and allows activists to engage with citizens immediately, which can shift public perception quickly. Before we continue, I want to remind you again, like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and comment below with your thoughts. Your engagement is what makes these discussions meaningful. In the next segment, we'll explore more about public reactions, the political stakes for Wike, and what this could mean for Nigerian leadership and governance overall. We'll also touch on what analysts predict might happen next, given the boldness of Sowore's moves.